And they said, Steve, my sales team needs some training. They're just not converting. I said, well, let me just have a look at the flow. The ads were generating great, but the appointment setters, their KPI was how many appointments they set. And I listened to a few and I said, the issue is not your sales trainer. The issue is the energy of the prospect coming out of the appointment being set, and their conversion rates went through the roof. Not because of the salespeople, but the energy coming out of the appointment setter.
Welcome to Season 4 of the Manage Self, Lead Others podcast with Nina Sunday, CSP, for experienced and aspiring people managers. This show helps you explore ways to become a more intentional leader. Each episode, host Nina Sunday speaks with some of the brightest business minds on the planet who share a passion to elevate and transform team culture. Workplace culture hides in plain sight. Is yours flourishing? Join the movement to make your workplace a better place to work. Are you ready? Because it's time to manage self, lead others.
Steve Brossman is a 9 times Amazon best-selling author in marketing and sales and has over 20 years TV and video experience, including hosting his own TV show on Channel 9 and has been an executive producer for Warner Brothers. Steve Brossman has created several 6- and 7-figure multinational businesses of his own, including inventing and marketing an environmental product selling 4 million units into 26 countries. His latest back pocket guide, The Art and Science of F.L.O.W Selling, is a smorgasbord of microsales enablement strategies that are commonly overlooked and often can cost businesses millions. Welcome, Steve Brossman.
Hey, Nina, it is absolutely brilliant to jump on your podcast. I've been hearing great things. I've heard some awesome episodes, and I'm privileged to be one of the people sharing some cool stuff with your people.
You're a microsales enablement strategist who helps increase conversions and shorten sales cycles. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, go on.
Tell us what the acronym F.L.O.W, F.L.O.W, stands for.
Well, F.L.O.W stands for Frequently Leveraged Outcome Wins, and it all comes from the win. And when I was writing one of my earlier books, Exceed, How to Exceed Your Own Personal and Professional Expectations, did a lot of study, and I'm a former professional track athlete, a lot of study around the value of winning and choreographing wins. And you've probably seen athletes that are out there coming second and third and just missing out. But when they had one win, they would then follow it up with another and another and another. And that's not by accident. That is physiological and psychological. And when you choreograph enough wins, that change in the body is permanent.
Right. So success leads to more success.
Yeah. And in a sales situation, it's how do we create the energy? And it's all about the energy flow as well. So there's two different parts to flow. There's the frequently leveraged outcome wins and why we need to choreograph that into a sales flow. And it's the actual energy flow. And what we need to do in a sales, we call it a funnel or a customer experience journey, is to really amp up that energy so that what I call is the buyer's energy.
I've had some sales managers say to me that the older generation of salesperson, you could give them a target and they would achieve it and exceed it and happily do that. Whereas some of the younger salespeople coming in, it's like they achieve the target, then they kick back and they go, oh, I don't have to do any more now. Have you heard that sort of issue around the tracks?
Creating momentum goals and getting them to get that energy boost and say, well, let's go for the 65. And they hit that with momentum and say, okay, great, we've smashed through 65. We're well on our way to 75. And because they've got that momentum and the confidence going, then they'll smash through the next one and smash through the next one. And as they've got those believable targets, they put in 100%. If it's a non-believable, it's like, well, I'm not going to get there. I know what they're playing at. So I'm just going to go along and I'll put in my 80 or 90%. But once you've set a believable target that they know that they could do, and then ask them to find 0.5% here and 0.5% there. And when they're ahead of the target, it's like you're in front of the race feeling good. It's like, well, I'm just going to keep going and I'm going to keep going. So when you set those momentum goals and create those wins, they will achieve so much more.
Now, one of your talents is the naming of things. And what I really liked on page 14, or my page 14, is that you don't call a sales call a discovery call ever. You give it a really strategic name like Prominence and Persuasion Review. Tell us about that.
And I believe there are 3 levels of influence in sales. There's the imposed influence, where I'm going to give you all of this information. I'm imposing my knowledge. And if I give you enough information, you'll make an informed buying decision. That's the old school.
That sounds like a pitch to me. And that's old sales. Yeah.
Present and pitch. Well, the next level is collaborative. And if we work together, and I've done a lot of work with some great research companies over there, and the golden rule is when they are involved, they invest. So with the collaborative, it's not just asking some question. There's different ways that we do it, and it's very visual. That is a higher level of influence. And as if they're co-creating the solution, it's hard for them to say no. And the last level is self-influence. It's like, well, hey, Nina, from what you've said, this is absolutely brilliant. How do we get started?
Oh, that's the holy grail, isn't it?
That is the holy grail. And when you have the right energy and the collaborative energy, it's like, this person is not on a discovery call. We are working together. We've got a great solution. It's a whole different energy, and the momentum going towards the end is so much quicker.
I learned a wonderful lesson reading your back pocket guide, is that you send a video before the first sales call and coach others that you coach to do the same. So what do you say on the video? How long is it? What platform do you use? I think we could drill down into this one.
I've actually been doing this since I was attaching old school videos to emails with dial-up connections, and you'd watch them tick along. And it's to break the ice. It's to create a relationship and boost the energy. It's like, hey, Nina, it's Steve here. I'm looking forward to our call tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I've had a look at your LinkedIn profile. I've had a look at your website. I've got some really cool ideas that I want to share with you, and I know they're going to make a difference. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love and kisses.
Lovely.
I don't say that. Steve. So I've got a video. I'm feeling this as if I'm knowing that person, and we start as if we've already got a relationship. Now, it might be the first thing that they say is, hey, Steve, I got that video. This fantastic. I haven't seen that before. Instead of the typical sales, tell me about the 3 things that you're having troubles with, etc. So it really does change the energy and the dynamics of it all.
Well, I get a lot of inquiries come through my website, and I always do I never phone them straight up, even if they give me a phone call, because the 1 or 2 times that I've done it, I could tell they thought I was being predatory. So I always send an email saying, let's make a time to find out more about your goals. This is for training, probably in Australia or for a conference. And I now realize, why don't I send it as a video? Duh.
Well, here's a classic example. A client that I was working with was a franchisee in a very well-known in Australia financial firm. It was named after a colour. And they were getting,
to go through the rainbow then, I got it.
And they were getting postcode, zip code, for those of you who are in America, generated leads. So the company would say, okay, you're in this area. Here's all the leads that come through the website. And the company's average, and they were hoping to get to 25% open rate and potentially a show rate. We choreographed the whole flow. He had one video that was pre-recorded, and it would be, hey, Clyde here from ABC here. We got your inquiry. Can't wait to do. What we're going to go through is our 3-dimensional review of your finances. We're going to go through this, so that you're going to get this and this. So the value of coming, I'm paraphrasing it all. The value of coming is going to be this, and you're going to walk away with this. We really look forward to seeing you here at and then he did a sign-off.
Fantastic.
84% show rate. That was 84% turn up.
Yes.
People would love that, just an email open rate. So by choreographing, again, the energy is like, I got that energy. Hey, somebody actually cares about me. And it took nothing. That video was viewed by everybody that booked in a call. We taught him how to look down the lens, communicate personally to the people, even though it wasn't, hey, Nina, hey, Steve, hey, Fred, hey, it's, and by the time you've gone through your name with a lot of energy, they've forgotten that you hadn't mentioned theirs. Hey, Steve here, so excited to see you last night at blah, 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 blah. Wasn't it a cool night? And mentioned something specific and unique.
Yeah. Right.
And that might have gone out to 20 people that I met at an event. Or if it's a client or a prospect that I really want to make a great connection with, it would be, hey, Nina, we've got our call booked. I'm really looking forward to it. I've had a look at this. And then tease about something that's coming up. And they're going to say, well, I want to turn up. Another company I worked with had ads to appointment setters to salespeople. And they said, Steve, my sales team needs some training. They're just not converting. I said, well, let me just have a look at the flow. The ads were generating great, but the appointment setters, their KPI was how many appointments they set. And I listened to a few and I said, the issue is not your sales trainer. The issue is the energy of the prospect coming out of the appointment being set.
Right.
So it was just a 2-hour training. We worked with the appointment setters and they had a KPI then of between 1 and 5, the energy, the excitement of going into the sales trainer. And it had to be a 4 or a 5. They had to cut back their ad spend. They increased their income 200,000 in 6 months, and their conversion rates went through the roof. Not because of the salespeople, but the energy coming out of the appointment setter. And how do we really affect and enhance and accelerate client flow? Here's the thing. You and all the sales trainers and all the salespeople out there will tell you that people buy on emotion. But when you look at the true meaning of emotion, it comes from emotere, which is energy in motion.
Yeah.
So when you go back and look at the energy flow, emotion is energy in motion. So how do we enhance the energy flow? How do we build the buyer's energy?
Right.
That is what makes the sale.
Oh, yes. This is music to my ears. It's lovely stuff. But you've got the heart, you've got how can we trigger happy hormones in our client, but you've also got a DNQC sales framework, which my little notes say data, narrative, quantify, confirm, and explain. That's a lot to drill down into. Perhaps you can give us a little mini summary and get the back pocket guide. You'll read all about it.
Absolutely. This is based on the back of research of one of the companies I do in America, and they've measured absolutely everything. The order that information, insights, questions should go to get the best results. So I'm not going to go back into all of that.
Yes.
But as a salesperson, normally there's a data dump, giving out info after info after info. We've broken it down. A packet of information that is answering and highlighting something that they do. Then there's a narrative, which is a story. Short, well-crafted story that starts with the just like me. Here is somebody that we have helped just like Nina, having the same problems as Nina's having. Here's the nugget of our solution that we fixed it with, and here's the quantifiable results that we delivered that person. So it's like, well, here's a bit of information. Here's how it fits. And they say, yeah, that works. Then if you're working with somebody, could you see that working for you? Great. Yes, I could. If we were to do that, and here's the only thing that we sell on, which is agreed implementable value, the AIV. So then let's work out, if we were to do that and put this into your business or life, how would that affect sales or whatever it is that we're doing? And then you quantify and help them quantify. And they say, well, that's going to be an extra $10,000 per month if we put that in. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. So that's the D, N, Q, and the C is the forgotten thing. Would that be a priority of yours to work on right now? Is that something that is that extra 10,000 something that you would like in your bank account right now? So as you're going through a sales conversation, you're doing the DNQC 2, 3, 4 times. And as you're going through, here's a bit of information. You told me you got a problem with this. Here's some information on how we'd fix it. By the way, that reminds me of somebody that we just worked with, just like you, had this problem. Here's what we got for them and quantified results. If we were to do that, quantify the results, financial and emotive, and then confirm. Wow, that's an extra $40,000 per month. You'd be excited that you'd want to work on that pretty quickly, wouldn't you? So as you're going through, you're collecting, and we do it visually. So as they're seeing all of those numbers add up, and it's like, well, there's 10 here and there's 40 there and there's 5 here and there's this. You get to the end of it. By the looks of it, Nina, if we were to put this system into your business, that's an extra $75,000 per month. I just got a quick question. Should we get started on this sooner rather than later?
And do you know what? It reminds me of the metaphor that you use in your back pocket guide, which is how is selling like a 100-meter race? And Usain Bolt, he isn't trying to win in the last 10 meters of the race. He's winning up until. And I'm realizing that I've overheard when I had a sales team, I would hear people say, well, the next step is we send you information. I'm realizing now, they're abdicating the asking for the business.
They have to be emotively bought.
Yes.
3/4 through the conversation.
Yes.
As you're working through and you're giving them the win. Okay, so if we were to do this and we was to put this into your business, that'd be an extra 40,000. That's where people would stop and say, well, what would you do with that? What difference would that make in the business? How would that affect? Oh, you're going to be able to get home of a night time and have dinner with your family and not miss your kids' basketball matches. Yeah. That's when you give them the win. Get them to feel and experience, not just future pace, but get them to feel what it would be like when you get that. And that's the frequently leveraged outcome wins. The outcome win is we've calculated the outcome. Now you feel it.
It's almost a leapfrog effect with a bit of elastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That momentum. It's lovely stuff. I mean, really, I know there's a few sales managers on our list that subscribe to our podcast, and I have a feeling this is going to be music to their ears. So tell us how people can work with you, Steve Brossman.
Yeah, I'm pretty well old-fashioned, and it's just very simple. If somebody just wants to drop me an email and say, hey, Steve, let's get on a call, and it's very simple as steve@stevebrossman.com. I actually answer them. And we would work out what it is that they may or may not need. Have a look at, where are the little bits that there could be blockages? Is it a big project? Is it a small project? Is it just a call? There's so many different ways, and I'm not going to preempt anything until I understand. And that's the biggest thing, to understand what it is that you may need and how I can best help. But most importantly, how to best integrate with what you're already doing. And that's why I'm the micro sales enablement specialist and strategist. I can look at what you're doing, have something that plugs in, not throw everything out, and just say, listen, here's a couple of small tweaks that do make a massive difference. And as you saw with a couple of others, that they make a huge difference.
That is fantastic, Steve, because we're busy working forward with results. We've got a whole set of leads that we're following up. We just want to be able to tweak the process and not have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So that call, you said you can call a prominence and persuasion review. What would you call a call like that?
It would still be the same. Right. Prominence and persuasion, because prominence is still in sales is still about standing out in the marketplace. Yes. Why are you different? And if you're not prominent and preeminent in the marketplace, then that in itself is a sales flaw. Then the persuasion, and that's the flow. What is the energy flow? What is the client flow, the funnel flow? And where are there, and possibly issues that could be just very, very small tweaks. Like the other guy, he needed just one video in one place. The other company that just needed a tweak of their appointment setters. So they're the little things that we would look at and really uncover. And it's probably looking at things from a different viewpoint that would be able to highlight things that are quite often hidden and blinded because of they're in the trenches doing the work and they've never looked at things from this way. So
and you come in with fresh eyes and you help them reduce sales cycles and also increase conversion rates. And from our conversation before, it made me realize conversion rate is beyond how many proposals are sent and how many people say yes. How many, like talking about how many calls do you set that the person actually turns up for the call? Yeah. I mean, that's a conversion rate.
Yeah, there are so many different things, and and I'm just going to give you all people just one more nugget.
Thank you.
The initial question is different to most that we start off with. There might be, hey, Steve, yeah, I love that video, blah, blah, blah. So, Nina, from what you've seen so far, what is it that you think I could best help you with, and what sort of an impact would that make?
Oh.
Now, instead of saying, can you tell me your 3 biggest problems, where it's like negative energy down problems, it's what have you seen so far? Because they will always get something from us, and we would make sure that they do.
Right.
And what sort of an impact would that make? Now, they're still going to talk about the issues, but they are talking about those issues, thinking about you as a solution. How do you think I could best help you, and what sort of an impact would that make? They're already thinking that you could be a solution instead of, I'm just going to dump all my problems and see if you can fix them. That little psychological shift starts the conversation with different energy. Yeah, Nina, absolute blast. And again, congratulations on the podcast that you're doing and all the work that you're doing, because it is totally valued and we do appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, Steve.
Cheers.
This episode, we were speaking with Steve Brossman from stevebrossman.com, and to get a copy of his back pocket guide, The Art and Science of Flow Selling, go to stevebrossman.com/BPG Flow Selling, all one word. BPG stands for Back Pocket Guide, Flow Selling. And listen to the episode a second time, this time with the back pocket guide in front of you to find the sections that he's referring to, that I'm referring to, and asking him questions about. And if you do decide to move forward with Steve, do mention that you heard about him on the Manage Self Lead Others podcast with Nina Sunday. And in fact, there might even be the opportunity to add a promo code. And if there is, the promo code is Nina Sunday, one word. Until next time, bye for now.
Nina Sunday CSP is on a mission to help leaders transform culture. Nina Sunday travels from Brisbane, Australia, to facilitate half-day or full-day workshops at your location anywhere across Australia. For a list of Nina's topics around leading people, productivity and communication, go to brainpowertraining.com.au signature programs to request a tailored proposal. To book Nina Sunday CSP to speak at your conference in Australia, New Zealand, Asia or internationally, head to ninasunday.com for details.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.